Okay, folks, you know what really gets me thinking late at night? It's that question. Like, are we really all alone out here in this massive universe? It's mind-boggling, right? And that's what we're diving into today. The possibility of alien life.
Yeah.
Is it out there and have we maybe already bumped into each other? We've got a crazy mix of stuff to look at today. Sightings that'll make you raise an eyebrow, ancient mysteries, government secrets, and the search for life on other planets. Buckle up because we're going on a ride through all these possibilities, pulling out the good stuff, the stuff that makes you go, wait, what? But we'll keep it real too. No jumping to conclusions, just exploring the evidence and trying to figure out what it all
You
means.
got it. We're talking UFOs, Area 51 ancient wonders, and the question of life on Mars. Each of those is like a window into this huge question of are we alone? And we're the things we observe. And some pretty wild theories. Well, they kind of crash into each other.
Yeah. So let's just jump right in with those UFO sightings, right? Are we already in contact? You got to start with Roswell, 1947. That story just won't quit. First it's a flying disc, then boom, it's a weather balloon. That that quick switch up in the story, it just makes you wonder if something bigger was happening, like they're trying to hide something truly amazing that crashed in the New Mexico desert. What do you think about that initial change in the story? Why do you think it's stuck with us for so long?
You hit on the head. It's that sudden change that's so fascinating about Roswell. It wasn't just a simple, oops, we got it wrong. It felt deliberate, like they were downplaying something
Mm-hmm.
huge. That's what got people suspicious, right? Like the government was hiding evidence of aliens, and Roswell, it became the lens that people started looking at all future UFO sightings through. Any official denial, any boring explanation is like, oh, they're just covering it up again like Roswell.
Right, it becomes the blueprint.
And there are thousands of these UFO reports from all over the world. We're not talking about some blurry photos either. We're talking about experienced pilots, seasoned observers describing things they've seen with their own eyes. And these aren't just quick glimpses either. Sometimes these encounters last a while and involve objects doing things that seem to completely break the laws of physics as we know them. We're talking about things that can change direction instantly, speeds that would crush any human pilot and any aircraft we know of.
Yeah, this isn't some fuzzy lights in the sky. We're talking about things that seem to ignore gravity and physics as we know it. And this is where it gets really interesting. The Pentagon just recently released those UAP videos, unidentified aerial phenomena. For years, these kinds of reports were laughed off like they were just fairy tales or people seeing things. But now the military is admitting it and even declassifying the footage. It feels like a really big shift. What do you think about this new official interest in UFOs?
Well, if you connect that to everything else, it suggests a couple of things. Number one, it means they're taking it seriously. UFOs aren't just conspiracy theories anymore. There's something the military intelligence agencies have to deal with. And number two, it brings up that big question. If these are really objects we can't explain and they're doing things that are so advanced, then what are they?
Mm.
Are they some super secret Earth technology that we don't know about? Or are they something way more out there like extraterrestrial?
Mm.
And that takes us to the next big question. If aliens are visiting, why haven't they just said hello? Why all the sneaking around?
Right. If you can travel between stars, why play hide and seek?
It's weird, right?
One theory I hear a lot is that they might be watching us, studying us from a distance, like how we watch animals in the wild. It's kind of humbling to think we might be the ones under the microscope.
It definitely makes you think about our own biases. You know, we assume that if aliens exist, they'd want to talk to us, share their knowledge, or maybe even conquer us. But what if they have completely different reasons? Maybe they're just curious scientists, or maybe they don't want to interfere. Or maybe they realize that meeting a less advanced species like us, a species that can be pretty destructive, might not be good for either of us. The whole watching animals thing is interesting, but are we really just another species in a cosmic zoo? Or is there something about humans, something about our consciousness and our potential that makes us different, that might make an advanced civilization treat us differently?
And then there's the really wild idea that maybe they're already here, living among us, using technology so advanced that we wouldn't even know it was there. It sounds like science fiction, but some people really believe it. What would it mean if that were true?
If we consider that possibility, it changes everything about what contact would mean. It wouldn't be something in the future to be happening right now, even if we can't see it. Think
Mhm.
about the technology they'd need to blend in with humans. It's mind-blowing. They'd have to be able to manipulate how we see things, camouflage themselves, maybe even influence our thoughts and beliefs without us knowing. How could we even tell they were here?
It makes you look at history differently, doesn't it? Some people even talk about a connection between Nikola Tesla, the brilliant inventor,
Huh.
and the possibility of alien influence. Like maybe his incredible ideas like wireless electricity came from contact with a more advanced intelligence. It's a wild thought, but it definitely gets you thinking.
That's where the line between history and speculation gets really blurry. We don't have any proof of aliens whispering in Tesla's ear, but it does make you wonder about where human ingenuity comes from. Could we have been influenced by outside forces? Tesla was a true visionary way ahead of his time. Could some of his ideas have come from something beyond what science understood back then? It's a great question, even if we don't know the answer.
Okay, let's switch gears and talk about a place that's all about secrets and rumors. Area 51. For decades, the U.S. government acted like they had no idea what you were talking about when you mentioned this patch of desert in Nevada. They didn't even admit it existed until 2013. That just made the rumors even crazier about what was really going on behind those fences. What do you think about that secrecy? What did it do to the whole Area 51 story?
It's like they poured gasoline on the fire, right? By denying Area 51 even existed, the government accidentally turned a probably pretty boring military base into this legendary place full of alien secrets. The more they denied it, the more people believed the crazy theories. It's like, well, if it's just a normal base, why are they being so secretive?
Yeah.
And then when they finally admitted it existed in 2013, they tried to make it sound like no big deal, just a place to test planes. But it was too late. People already believed in the alien connection. To a lot of people, it felt like a carefully planned way to tell us just enough to keep the real truth hidden.
Exactly, because at the same time, you have all these whistleblowers people claiming to have worked at Area 51 and seen unbelievable things. They say they saw alien technology being studied, stuff recovered from crashed UFOs. This isn't just some internet rumors either. Some of these people have gone public, risking their careers and reputations to tell their stories, and sometimes their stories match up in interesting ways.
One guy who stands out is Bob Lazar. Back in the late 80s, he said he worked at a secret base near Area 51, studying a captured alien spacecraft. He gave all these details about how it worked, talking about anti-gravity propulsion and even his element 115, which was supposed to power the whole thing. Whether he's telling the truth or not is still a big debate, but the details he gave, they really caught people's imaginations. He gave people something concrete to latch onto, and it really added to the whole Area 51 legend. If even a tiny bit of what he said is true, it would completely change how we understand physics and technology.
You can't forget about the Storm Area 51 thing either. Millions of people signed up online to raid a top-secret military base hoping to find aliens. Sure, most of them were joking, but some were probably serious. It shows you how powerful this mystery is. Even though the actual event turned into more a festival, it's pretty amazing how many people were interested. What do you think that moment says about us?
The Storm Area 51 thing.
Yeah.
It was a big internet meme,
Yeah.
but it shows how much we want to know what's out there and how much we want the government to be honest with us.
Yeah.
It was like a giant group cry for answers about our place in the universe. Even if they were just joking, the number of people who got involved is pretty incredible. It shows how much Area 51 and the whole question of aliens has captured our imaginations.
Let's travel back in time now to the ancient past. We got to talk about ancient aliens. This idea says that aliens visited Earth a long time ago and maybe even helped build some of the most incredible ancient structures. It suggests that maybe our history with aliens is longer and more forgotten than we think. What are some of the things people point to as evidence for this theory?
People who believe in ancient aliens often talk about how massive and complex some ancient structures are. They say these things just couldn't have been built with the technology we think those civilizations had. The pyramids in Egypt are a perfect example. How did the ancient Egyptians, with their basic tools, move those giant stones, cut them so precisely, and put them together with such accuracy? It's a puzzle that keeps people looking for answers, even today.
Yeah, it blows your mind when you really think about it.
Yeah,
And some of the sources we have also mention Puma Punku in Bolivia. Those huge stone blocks are cut and fit together so perfectly. It's almost like they used lasers or something. It's hard to imagine them doing that with just hammers and chisels.
the precision and how those stones fit together at Puma Punku is unbelievable. The surfaces are so smooth, the edges are sharp. It makes you wonder if they had some kind of advanced tools that we haven't discovered yet. It makes you question what those builders really knew and what they were capable of.
And then there are the Nazca lines in Peru. Those are giant drawings in the desert that you can only really see from the air. Why would ancient people create something so huge that they couldn't even see it properly? It makes you wonder, were they meant for someone or something flying above to see?
The Nazca lines are a real head-scratcher. People have a lot of theories about them. Some say they were calendars, some say they were for religious ceremonies, but you can't deny that they're most impressive when you see them from above. So were they sending a message to the sky? We don't know, but it's fun to think about.
There's another source here that really got me thinking, those ancient Indian texts that describe vimanas. These aren't just chariots. We're talking about flying machines with all kinds of details about how they work. Some people even think these texts are describing things that sound a lot like our modern technology, like nuclear weapons and anti-gravity devices.
Ah.
What do you think about those kinds of stories?
The descriptions of vimanas in those ancient Indian texts, they're definitely fascinating, even if they're controversial. People who believe in ancient aliens say these texts prove that people back then had really advanced technology maybe given to them by aliens. Skeptics, though, they think those descriptions are just metaphors or stories not meant to be taken literally. But no matter how you interpret them, those texts give us a window into the amazing imaginations and beliefs of ancient cultures.
So the big question is, did ancient civilizations really have contact with aliens? Did those aliens give them advanced knowledge that allowed them to build these incredible things and leave behind these mysteries that we're still trying to solve today?
It's a compelling idea. It makes you question what we think we know about history and how technology developed. We don't have definite proof of alien contact, but all those weird things we talked about, the precision of those ancient structures, the scale of the Nazca lines, the stories in old texts, they make you wonder if maybe there's more to the story.
Let's bring things back to the present and look to the future now, specifically to Mars. NASA and other space agencies are spending a lot of time and money exploring the red planet. What do scientists think now about the chances of finding life there, past or present?
Mars has become the hot spot in the search for alien life, and for good reason. Everything we've learned about Mars suggests that it used to be much warmer and wetter. There was liquid water flowing on the surface, forming lakes and rivers. And since we think water is essential for life, that means Mars could have had microscopic life in the past, and maybe, just maybe, it still does somewhere underground.
And then there are those photos from Mars that show things that look a lot like pyramids, tunnels, and of course that famous face. Now, I know scientists say most of that is just our brains playing tricks on us. Pareidolia, they call it, where we see familiar shapes and random patterns. But some of those things look too perfect, too symmetrical to be just a coincidence, don't they?
It's true, pareidolia plays a role in how we interpret those images. But some of those formations are so regular and symmetrical that they do make you want to take a closer look. It's important to be skeptical, but also open-minded when you're looking at pictures from Mars. Most of them are probably just natural formations, but there's always a chance that some of them were made by ancient geological activity or even ancient life. That's what keeps scientists exploring.
And this is something that's really exciting scientists right now. NASA keeps finding methane in the Martian atmosphere. Methane can come from geological processes, but it's also made by certain microorganisms. Finding methane on Mars right now, that's a pretty big clue that there might be life there, don't you think?
Yeah, finding methane on Mars is a big deal, and scientists are trying to figure out where it's coming from. The fact that the levels of methane go up and down suggests that something is making it. It could be geological activity, but it could also be tiny living things. More research, especially looking at what kind of methane it is, might help us figure out where it's coming from and maybe even confirm that there's life on Mars today.
It even makes you wonder if there's simple life on Mars. Was there ever more complex life, maybe even intelligent life, that lived on Mars long ago and then died out or moved somewhere else?
The idea of intelligent life on Mars in the past, it's a fascinating thought. If life started on another planet in our own solar system, it makes you realize that life might be much more common in the universe than we think. What happened to that Martian civilization? That's something scientists are still trying to figure out.
So we started by asking if we're already in contact with aliens. After looking at all this information from UFO sightings to ancient mysteries and the search for life on Mars, it really makes you think about where we fit in the universe. And it makes you wonder if we're ready for what might happen if we do meet aliens. The sources you shared talk about how finding aliens could change everything, our religions, our science, our governments, pretty much every part of human society.
Imagine the impact if we knew for sure that aliens existed. It would change how we see ourselves, our place in the universe, our whole understanding of life itself. It would spark all kinds of debates, philosophical, ethical, religious. It could lead to amazing collaborations between countries. But it could also cause conflict.
And there's that hopeful idea that maybe there are alien civilizations out there who know about us and are just waiting for us to grow up a bit,
Right.
waiting until we're less likely to blow ourselves up and more likely to get along with each other. It's a nice thought, even if it might be a little naive.
The idea of a galactic federation or
Yeah.
some group of advanced aliens watching over us is a popular idea in science fiction. There's no scientific evidence for it,
Yeah.
but it shows how much we want the universe to be a good and orderly place.
Yeah.
It also makes you wonder, how would those aliens decide if we're ready for contact? What are their standards?
Or maybe, as we talked about before, maybe they're already here watching us, maybe even influencing things behind the scenes. Or maybe they're just existing in a way we can't even understand. It's a reminder that the universe is full of mysteries and amazing possibilities that we haven't even begun to imagine.
Exactly. The universe is much bigger and stranger than we can even grasp. All these questions we've talked about today, they show how much we still have to learn and how curious we are about the possibility of life beyond Earth.
So after all this, the UFOs, Area 51, the ancient aliens, and the search for life on Mars, what's the one question that really sticks with you about our potential interactions with extraterrestrial life? That's the thought I want you to take away from this deep dive.